Hey guys, how's it going? Soldier Cross here with my final video, my outro for the Blitz. In this 2 week period, guys, we've all had a lot of interesting different growth, and we've all been able to change and hopefully build up our streams, our personalities in successful and positive ways. So I'll share with you guys a little bit about how I interacted with the Blitz and what I was able to get out of it for now. I'm going to go through the questions that Dom has asked of us, and hopefully you guys can get something out of this as well. So my accomplishments this week. I think the biggest thing for me this week was figuring out overlays. Turns out with Streamlabs it's actually pretty easy. It's just a matter of going in and finding a custom overlay. I did have to get the Streamlabs Prime thing, but it was honestly like pretty cheap. It was like 20 bucks a month, so not too bad really, and I think the content and quality is there and very worth it to make things a lot more seamless, especially for new streamers. And even if you're just taking it as a hobby, when you think about 20 bucks a month, it's not too bad. So that was a big thing for me, figuring out how alerts and everything works and how to do a proper intro and outro video. All those things I think help build up and have made my stream a lot better. As well, working on some of the sound stuff. I had to take a lot of criticism for my sound being kind of shitty going into it. Like, you come in and be like, oh, your buddies are way louder than you, or your game is way louder than you, I can't hear you. So trying to figure out how to work out my sound levels. I'm still taking feedback on that constantly. Please, if you're listening to my stream and you think, oh, your sound's off, please just tell me. Like, it's honestly apparently really easy to just switch the decibels and kind of lower something, so adjust it as you need be. I think every game is going to be a little bit unique, so I might have to go forward, test games that I'm going to play beforehand by streaming them quickly to a friend, seeing how it sounds and stuff, and going from there, and then just adjust my buddies in Discord accordingly, and just take active feedback on that. But those would probably be the biggest accomplishments I made this week. What changes did I make? So obviously aforementioned, those were the biggest changes. As well, I'm working on actively now how to properly engage with not just my viewers, but more so myself. I think the hardest thing is, if people are coming in to just check out your stream and you get like, you see, 2 or 3 viewers and you're really excited, but then nobody talks and then they leave. Because if you're not talking, if you're not engaging to yourself, if you're not engaging to the game, you're not really setting yourself apart from anyone else. If you're really good at a game, someone might tune in, but then people have to know you're like, an SC2 pro or a CSGO pro or something. And then that's not really feasible. So for me, I was talking to Dex recently, and he advised, for example, have talking points, so I can constantly be talking either about what I'm doing in the game or talking about what I'm feeling at the moment. So one thing I want to work on is having like daily motivation or meditation quotes to kind of like, feedback in chat, so I can kind of keep talking about that, or have regular talking points to keep myself flowing throughout the stream, talk about the choices I'm making in the game. Or if I'm streaming with others, that becomes a lot easier. If you have friends in chat and stuff that you have natural rapport with, that becomes a much more, I think, relaxed atmosphere. But figuring out if you're playing solo, which a lot of the time you might be, if you're playing like, a simple single player game, then, you might have to figure out a way to, how can I regularly talk about the game and, what I'm doing. How did my approach change? It's a good question. I think a lot about what I mentioned just now ties into that, like thinking about how do I stay regularly engaged with the camera, how do I, make my stream approachable, how do I make myself seem more inviting. If I know, I know I'm personable, I know I connect to people really easily, but people aren't going to know that unless I'm talking. So understanding my own limitations in that and understanding where I have to work on to make it easier for me to be engaging and talk and stuff is probably the biggest change to my actual approach. As well, I'm trying to work on a proper schedule. Right now, I'm still kind of like streaming when I want to, and I think adhering to a schedule gives some people something to like look forward to, and your followers will be like, oh, okay, I know I can tune in then, right? And obviously, if you want to stream outside of that, that's fine, but sticking to a schedule, it also helps give you structure. And I think right now with the quarantine going on right now, and a lot of us are just kind of like flopping around and not sure what to do, I think having a semblance of structure and schedule does help quite a bit. Were you surprised at how much there was to learn about streaming? I'm going to be honest, not really. I mean, to some extent, yes, but I was already kind of nervous getting into it. Not nervous. I was already like feeling like I might be overwhelmed because I knew there was going to be a lot. What I did find surprising is how much the resources help you in that regard, how useful Streamlabs is, and truly like reaching out to the community. I'm so glad I went on Twitch on Reddit and found this group, because having all the resources and having people here like talking about sound quality and talking about how to do these overlays and talking about the programs that are there for streamers to set stuff up has helped immensely. So I wasn't so much surprised as what there was to learn, other than, like I said earlier, how to be constantly engaging. And I think that's something that I'll have to work on. While it's not hard for me to talk, learning to talk to myself better on stream, and make the conversation with myself be more interesting until people then start regularly engaging with you. So those would be my biggest things that I found surprising to learn, but overall I think it's reflective of what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a little bit complicated, and I thought it was going to be a lot, and there is, but there's enough tools that I think that it makes it approachable for anyone. Were you surprised with how much you got done? Yeah. I'm pretty lazy. I'm hard to motivate if I don't have something that I'm interested in, but I'm truly surprised with how much I got done. Like, when you have a group, when you have people like pushing you, when you have other people that you're not competing with other people, but you see them and you want to emulate success, you want to have the same growth that they do, you want to do the things that they're doing. It's never good to be the big fish in a small pond. So being a small fish, being able to see people that are bigger than you, people that are doing things well, you want to emulate that. You want to do good, but you also want to do your own thing. And I was really surprised that I was able to really motivate myself, even though the tech side of things, I'm not good at that. But once I ended up starting to invest a little bit of time into it and figure out, okay, this is actually pretty straightforward to use. Some of the Streamlabs stuff is really cool. It ended up being very motivating and very fun. So I was surprised, because I thought it'd be like, oh, can't someone just do this stuff for me? But once I actually got going, I was surprised that it ended up being a lot of fun. My next steps, probably working on a schedule, as I mentioned, and figure out as well. I was talking to some of the people in the chat today, trying to figure out how I can contribute. I was feeling a little bit bummed because everyone seems to have video editing knowledge, sound knowledge, or all these other things, and I'm like, I can't really contribute. So I feel kind of So I figured, I was thinking today, and I was like, well, I'm pretty social. I've worked sales. I work as a bartender for 4 or 5 years now, and I've been doing being outgoing for a lot of my life, and I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always, as confident and easygoing and easy to relate to. So I figured, well, if I can help people grow in that way, maybe I can create some content with that. So I think some of my next steps might be branching out into YouTube as well, to try to figure out how I can help others. People who might not be as good at talking to people who might not be as good about talking about themselves. How can I help people feel more confident, more at home in themselves and their own thoughts, and how they can feel more at home in other people as well? Because I think we're all here for each other, and I think we're all here to have a good time and connect. And I think that's a really big thing. Advice for the next group: first of all, have fun with it. You're here to compete mostly with yourself prior. You don't have to make drastic changes constantly. If you're making small, little, minute improvements here and there, that's all that matters. And even then, if all you come out of this 2 weeks is understanding what you don't want to do, that's totally fine too. And progress is not always linear. It's not always a graph. Sometimes you go, there's steps back, there's steps up, and all that. I do jiu-jitsu. It's been my spare time, and unfortunately I haven't been able to do this for months because of lockdown. It's a grappling martial art, whatever. But through that, I've learned a lot about progress, because some days you'll go and you'll grapple with people and you'll feel great. You think you're making these new moves connect, and you feel like a rock star. And other days you go on and you just feel like you don't know what's going on. You might go in feeling great, and then you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Why can't I make anything work? And that you have to accept that in that sport, and I think you have to accept that in a lot of things in life. So if you feel like you've made improvements, then you feel like things are getting worse or getting harder, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Progress is not often linear. I think it's very rarely fully linear as well, except in some very, very few things. So take things in stride, take things slowly, and do things with patience and with purpose. And like I said, if you come out of this 2 weeks only knowing the things that you've done wrong or the things you might want to change, that's okay. Just be honest to yourself. Make the minute changes when you see them, listen to the feedback, and be open, be welcoming, and have a lot of fun with it, guys, because we have a great group here in the first one, and I'm sure whoever we get for the second group is going to be absolutely fantastic as well. So thoughts to others in the Blitz as well. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are an absolutely great crew. You heading out now? Have fun, okay? You guys have been an absolutely great crew. I've loved doing this with you guys, and you guys have given me so many great resources to pull on. You're a fantastic group of streamers, and I think we all have a potential future in doing this, whether it be as hobbies or as a main source of income, or whatever you want out of it. It's just good to create content. As I said in my intro video, for me, just not having my regular I haven't been able to be extroverted. I haven't been able to connect with people. Doing this has really allowed me to do that. Again, even if it's just with this crew, even if you're not getting those viewerships, it's great to make friends. It's great to build a community, and I think that's one of the greatest things to get out of this. And I think you guys have been fantastic. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I hope you guys continue to grow, and I hope that people are still involved. I hope we stay involved in this group, help the next group, whether we're there as participants or as influencers as well. So either way, guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I hope we get to continue doing this together too. Cheers. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch.